Hi, it's me, just Mike, and today I wanted to go through a few of the things that I really love about living in the Netherlands. I'm an American by birth, but I've lived in the Netherlands for more than 20 years. All of those years I've lived in the beautiful, charming city of Haarlem, and in fact this recording is being made in Haarlem, and I'm in my benedenwoning, which is a downstairs house in Haarlem and recording this video. So I've made a list of things that I love about living here, so you may see me refer to that from time to time. It's not in any particular order, it's not ranked in any way. I'll just begin by saying one thing that I love about the Netherlands is the fact that it is an international, multicultural country. And you find people here from all walks of life. In fact, where I work, I believe it is represented by, if I'm not mistaken, 42 nationalities. And that was never the case when I was working in the US. I was always working among other Americans. America, of course, is a international multicultural country. It is a melting pot, famously, but that's more vividly felt here in the Netherlands because, where I work again, I experience Germans and Italians and Moroccans and Tunisians, you name it, people from all over the world, from all walks of life. And I find that fascinating. You learn a lot and it does expand your consciousness and opens your mind. Secondly, related to that is the fact that English is widely spoken here in the Netherlands. Where I work, I've had two long-term jobs in my 20 years here, both for Dutch companies, but in both cases, English was the official language. I'm lucky that way. I sometimes say that it's easy to be lazy here in the Netherlands in terms of the language, because if you speak English, you will find that the vast majority of Dutch people speak English, and at a very high level. At least that's been my experience. Another thing that I love about the Netherlands is the very high living standards. I, for example, have rarely encountered homeless people as I walk around even the big cities, a big city like Amsterdam, a smaller city like Haarlem or Utrecht. You rarely encounter that. Another thing that I really admire about the Netherlands and love is the treatment of animals. I only see fat cats and well taken care of dogs. I've really never seen a desperate looking animal as I have in other countries, including the US. When I lived in Philadelphia, I can't tell you how many stray cats would come to my door in desperate need of care and attention. And I don't really find that here in the Netherlands. The cats, the dogs, live very happy lives. And it's interesting because animals are even represented politically in the Netherlands. There is a party for the animals, and they have representation in the parliament looking after their concerns. And I think that's a testament to how advanced the Netherlands really is. Something else that I really appreciate about living here is the work-life balance. And it's true that the Dutch lead the nations in terms of part-time work, and part-time work is a perfectly plausible and acceptable way of working, and it allows you much more freedom and flexibility in your work. And related to that, it just occurs to me, is the lack of hierarchy at work. In the American system, in the English system, there really is a hierarchy, and the tone comes down from the top. But in the Netherlands, it's much more flat, and so every voice counts, every opinion counts, and there's a consensus culture that can sometimes slow things down when you're trying to reach some type of agreement. But I really value the fact that every voice is heard, and oftentimes you're on a first name basis with your manager or with your boss. I really love that. That's related to something else that I find here and have found from the very beginning, and that's a sense of freedom. And the Dutch are famously tolerant. As an example, the Dutch were the first to implement marriage equality in the year 2000. So for 20, almost 25 years now, gay marriage has been legalized and recognized. Um, More controversially, I would say that, prostitution is legalized here, which has its benefits because it brings those sex workers off the street and they're unionized and have certain protections and rights. And also perhaps controversial, but interesting to me is the fact that euthanasia is legal here in the Netherlands. Although that's not the culture that I grew up in, I really think it's amazing that you can make that choice. And I've had a couple of colleagues that I worked with who became terminally ill and made the decision to terminate their own life at a certain point. And I can't imagine what that decision must be like. I don't think anyone can until you're in those shoes. But again, the fact that that is an option, I think, is really humane. After all, we have that option for our pets. We can choose euthanasia as a humane option for our beloved animal companions. So why shouldn't that be an option for us? Something else that I really value about life in the Netherlands is the history and the culture. You see it everywhere you go. When I walk the streets, I'm immersed in history routinely. There are houses and buildings here from 1600s, 1500s, and also the art. The Dutch are famous for their art. You might think of Vermeer, who's one of my favorite painters, and Van Gogh, who is another of my favorite painters. Those are just two prominent artists, and there are many, many others, both from the past and today. There is a thriving art community here in the Netherlands. So that's something that I really appreciate. Something else that I love and have loved since childhood is riding my bike. And the cycling culture here in the Netherlands is everywhere. There are designated bike lanes from one side of the country to the other, and you can ride your bike safely throughout the country. And it's a great way to get around. It's a great way to run your errands. I don't have a car, for example, which is another thing that I really love about living here. As an American, I was so attached to my car and I really depended on my car. And I understand the differences. The US is a very big country and the distances that we have to cover are immense sometimes. And in order to get to work, in order to get to school, or even to run errands, we usually need a car. And the neighborhoods, the communities are not really set up for a carless lifestyle. But the cycling here is just such a wonderful aspect of life. I think it really contributes to the overall health of the people. I see people of all ages on bikes. From almost day one, I see little tiny infants in a seat or in a basket on the bike, or in what they call a bakfiets, which is a specialized bike with a container in the front, which will hold children or things that you may pick up from a store, all the way up to the age of 70 and 80, and I see them on the back of their bike, and so I think it contributes to their overall health. Something else I really love about the Netherlands is the abundance of flowers. Haarlem, for example, is called the Bloemenstad, which is Flower City. And you see flowers everywhere. Haarlem is very close to the famous bulb fields where you find all of the tulips, which are so strongly associated with the Netherlands. And because of that, flowers are very affordable here. I don't know the statistics specifically, but I know that the Netherlands is really among, if not the top exporter of flowers in the world, which is astounding given the size of the country. But that's something I really love, flowers. Who doesn't love a fresh arrangement of flowers? Another thing, and this is on my love list and things that I love less list, and that's the weather. And in terms of what I love about it are the endless summer days. The days are so long in the summertime. There's such an abundance of daylight. I really appreciate that. And I like the fact that the temperatures year-round are mild. You don't ever find extremes of heat or extremes of cold for that matter. So sign me up for that, because where I grew up in the US, in the state of Maryland, believe me, we experienced extremes of heat, oppressive, sweltering, humid heat in the summer, and terrible biting winters. Huge snows, epic snows, and ice storms, and I don't miss any of that. On the flip side, there's the other aspect of the weather, which I won't discuss here. We'll save that for my things I love less about living in the Netherlands video. But back to things that I love. I will say that I love the excellent public transportation system. You actually can board a bus or a train or a tram and get to just about any corner of the country with ease. And those buses and trains and trams are very clean, modernized. And also another thing that I love about the Netherlands is the healthcare system. It's relatively inexpensive. I don't any longer know how much health insurance costs in the US, but here I can tell you that I pay about 150 euros a month, and that covers just about everything. There is a small deductible, but in the Netherlands you will never be homeless as a result of health costs. That's as it should be, and I know that that's not the case in the US, and it is something I really appreciate about my life here in the Netherlands. The education system is also really great here. As far as I know, I can't say that that's something that I've experienced firsthand, but when I've done my research and read about it, that's something that ranks very highly in the Netherlands. And I love the pace of life here. I love the fact that things are just a little bit slower. And I know that sometimes the Dutch talk about the frantic pace of life. I have a Dutch friend who grew up in a small town here in the Netherlands, and she refers to Haarlem as the bustling metropolis, which always makes me laugh a little bit, because for me, Haarlem has more of a feeling of a town. I know it is officially a city. There are approximately 150,000 people who live in Haarlem, but the feeling is not one of a bustling metropolis by my standards. When I think of bustling metropolis, I think of New York City or San Francisco, Washington, D.C., one of the bigger cities, Los Angeles. I also like the fact that there's easy access to Europe. I'm very close to the international airport here, which ranks among the best in the world in terms of its connections. But just within Europe, I can, within 2 hours and probably 200 euros, I can go to Italy, or I can fly to, I don't know, Poland or Czech Republic or Croatia. And that's really wonderful because it opens up a whole range of possibilities for travel. And within Europe, you can discover cultures and cuisines that range in a short matter of time. As I say, 2 hours, you can be in Italy, and it's a completely different culture, different cuisine, different language. And that's true of any country. I can drive to France and have many times, or Belgium or Germany. All of that is within easy reach by car if I rent a car, because as I say, I don't own one anymore, and I'm so happy to be free of that. So this is just an example of some of the things that I really love about living here. And I hope you enjoyed my list of things that I love. And I would be curious to hear from you if you've ever been to the Netherlands, or if you live in the Netherlands, or if you're Dutch, what it is that you love about being here. So let me know, and thanks again for listening. Until next time, take care.